Hey there, sleepless survivors. Tonight we're going back, way back. Not to medieval castles or ancient pyramids, but to a time when survival wasn't about taxes or politics. It was about not freezing to death before sunrise. We're talking about the Ice Age, the Pleistocene epoch. A world of endless white, crushing cold and megafauna that could swallow you whole. Before we begin, if you enjoy these deep dives into history's harshest moments, go ahead and like the video. Subscribe if you haven't already, but only if this kind of content genuinely helps you sleep or fascinates you. I'm not here to beg, and drop a comment telling me where you're listening from and what time it is. It's always interesting to see who's awake at 3 AM in Tokyo, or winding down at midnight in Berlin. Now get comfortable. Maybe grab a blanket, ironically. Turn off the lights. Let the hum of your fan or the silence of your room settle in. Because tonight we're stripping away every modern comfort you have and dropping you into the frozen wilderness of 20,000 years ago. Let's begin. Chapter 1. Waking up in the Ice Age. Congratulations, you've just opened your eyes in the year 18,000 BCE. The first thing you notice, it's cold. Not the kind of cold where you pull up a blanket, not even the kind where you crank up the heat. This is the kind of cold that makes your lungs ache with every breath. The kind that stiffens your fingers within seconds. The kind that kills. You're lying on the ground inside a crude shelter made of mammoth bones, animal hides and mud. The structure is dome-shaped, low to the ground, and smells like death, smoke, and wet fur all mixed together. There's no door, just an opening covered with a flap of reindeer skin that does almost nothing to keep the wind out. Your bed, a pile of dried grass and furs, no pillow, no mattress, just layers of whatever animal you or your group managed to kill recently. If you're lucky, it's bison or mammoth. If you're not, it's something smaller, thinner, and far less warm. You're wearing everything you own. A tunic made from stitched hides, leggings, boots made from leather and stuffed with grass for insulation, a cloak, possibly a hat. All of it is crude, all of it smells, and none of it is enough. Outside, the wind howls. It's a constant sound. You've heard it every day of your life. The Ice Age doesn't have quiet moments. It has cold moments and colder moments. You sit up slowly. Your body aches. Your joints are stiff. You're probably in your early 20s, but your bones feel 40. Everyone's bones feel 40. The cold does that. The labour does that. The lack of food does that. The fire in the centre of the shelter is barely alive. Just embers now. Someone will need to feed it soon or everyone inside will freeze. There are 5 other people here. Your family, your clan, your survival unit. You don't have the luxury of living alone. One of them is already awake, crouched near the fire, blowing gently on the coals, trying to coax it back to life. It's a daily ritual. Fire is life. Without it, you're just meat waiting to freeze. You don't say good morning, there's no such thing. You grunt, maybe nod. Communication is functional. You're not here to bond. You're here to survive another day. And so, you crawl toward the fire, your breath visible in the frigid air, and you prepare yourself for another day of cold, hunger, and exhausting labour. Welcome to the Ice Age. This is your life now. Chapter 2. No bathroom, just nature. You've been awake for maybe 5 minutes and already nature is calling. Loudly. But here's the thing. There is no bathroom, no outhouse, no designated spot. Just outside. In the freezing cold. In the dark. Possibly near a predator. You push yourself up, groaning as your stiff legs protest. You wrap your cloak tighter around your body, pull the hide flap aside and step out into the brutal morning. The cold hits you like a physical force. The air is so frigid it burns your nostrils. Your eyes water immediately. The wind cuts through your furs like they're not even there. It's still dark. The sun won't rise for a while. You can see your breath in thick clouds. The landscape around you is bleak, snow-covered, endless white in every direction, broken only by patches of frozen tundra and the distant silhouette of mountains. You trudge a few steps away from the shelter. Not far, far enough. You crouch down, your body screaming in protest, and you do what you have to do. There's no toilet paper, no leaves, because trees are scarce here. Maybe some snow, maybe some grass if you're lucky. Most of the time, you just deal with it, and you do it fast. Because staying out here too long means frostbite. It means your fingers turning black. It means death. As you finish, you glance around nervously. You're vulnerable out here. Wolves hunt in the early morning, cave lions roam. Even a cornered reindeer could gore you if it's desperate enough. You hurry back inside, your hands already numb, and collapse near the fire. Someone has added a few sticks. The flames are growing, slowly, painfully slowly. This is your morning routine. No shower, no brushing your teeth, no checking your phone, just surviving the first 30 minutes of the day without freezing or getting eaten, and the day has barely started. Chapter 3. Breakfast is a gamble. Now that you've survived the morning cold and made it back inside, it's time to eat, or at least it's time to try. Breakfast in the Ice Age is not a meal. It's a negotiation with scarcity. There's no refrigerator, no pantry, no grocery store. What you eat depends entirely on what your group killed yesterday, last week or last month, and if they didn't kill anything, you don't eat. Today, if you're lucky, there's some leftover meat. Maybe a chunk of frozen mammoth haunch, hacked off a kill from several days ago. It's rock hard, covered in frost, and needs to be thawed over the fire before anyone can chew it. Someone places it on a flat stone near the flames. It sits there slowly melting while everyone watches with hollow eyes. Hunger is a constant companion. You're always hungry. Always. If there's no meat, you eat whatever you can scavenge. Roots, tubers, frozen berries if you can find them. Lick and scraped off rocks, bone marrow sucked from cracked bones, anything with calories. Some days you eat insects, grubs, beetles, whatever you can dig out of rotting wood or thawing soil. Protein is protein. Pride is a luxury you can't afford. Water is another challenge. You can't just turn on a tap. You melt snow over the fire, which takes time and fuel. Or you find a stream, chip through the ice and drink directly. But you have to be careful. Some water sources are contaminated with animal waste or stagnant. Drinking bad water can mean vomiting, diarrhea and dehydration. In this climate, that's a death sentence. The meat finally softens enough to eat. It's divided among the group, not equally. The strongest hunters get the largest portions. They need the energy. The children get what's left. The elderly and the weak, they get the scraps. You gnaw on a piece of stringy, half-cooked bison. It's tough, gamey, and barely seasoned. There's no salt, no spices, just meat, smoke, and desperation. Your teeth hurt. They always hurt. Constant grinding on tough meat and frozen food has worn them down. Cavities are common. Infections are worse. If a tooth goes bad, it either falls out on its own or someone pulls it. There's no dentist, just pain. You wash it down with melted snow. Your stomach only partially full. It's never fully full. Not in winter, maybe in summer, when game is plentiful. But now, you eat enough to keep moving, that's all. And now that you've eaten your meagre breakfast, it's time to work. Because in the Ice Age, if you're not working, you're dying. Chapter 4. The work never ends. You can't sleep in. You can't take a day off. You can't call in sick. In the Ice Age, laziness is suicide. Your day is divided into a few simple tasks. Find food, stay warm, don't die. Everything else is secondary. If you're a hunter, your job is clear. You grab your spear, a wooden shaft with a sharpened stone tip bound with sinew, and you head out with a few others. Hunting is never done alone. It's too dangerous. Mammoth, bison, reindeer, horses. These are your targets. Massive, fast, and violent. You track them for hours, sometimes days. You follow footprints in the snow, droppings, broken branches. You move quietly, carefully, always watching for other predators who might be tracking the same prey. When you finally find your target, the real work begins. You don't have a gun. You don't have a bow. Not yet. Those haven't been invented in your region. You have a spear and your wits. You and your group surround the animal. You shout, wave, try to drive it toward a cliff or into a trap. If that works, gravity does the killing. If not, you have to get close. Very close. Imagine trying to kill a full-grown bison with a stick. It's bigger than you. Stronger than you. One kick and your ribs are shattered. One charge and you're trampled. But you do it anyway. Because if you don't, everyone starves. If you're not hunting, you're gathering. And gathering in the Ice Age is grim. You dig through snow with your bare hands or a sharpened stick, searching for roots, tubers, anything edible. Your fingers go numb, your back aches. You find maybe a handful of food after hours of searching. You also gather firewood. But trees are rare in the tundra, so you collect dried grass, animal dung, bones, anything that burns. You carry it back to camp in bundles, your arms screaming. If you're a woman, you're likely doing all of this plus more. Caring for children, preparing food, stitching hides into clothing with bone needles and sinew thread, keeping the fire going, scraping G-fat off animal skins so they can be used for shelter or warmth. Children start helping as soon as they can walk. A 5-year-old is expected to gather sticks. A 10-year-old is expected to help with butchering. There are no days off, no weekends, no retirement. You work until your body gives out, and when it does, you become a burden. And burdens don't last long, so you push through the pain, the cold, the hunger. You work until the sun sets, and then you stumble back to your shelter, exhausted, and pray the fire is still burning. Chapter 5. The cold is always winning. Let's talk about the cold. Because in the Ice Age, the cold isn't just uncomfortable, it's a predator, silent, patient, and always hunting. During the Pleistocene, much of the northern hemisphere is locked in glaciation. Ice sheets miles thick cover parts of Europe, Asia, and North America. Even areas not covered in ice are tundra, frozen, barren, wind-blasted plains. Average temperatures hover around 10 to 30 degrees Celsius in winter. In some places it drops even lower, and you have no central heating, no insulated walls, no hot showers. You have fire, that's it. Keeping the fire alive is the most important task of the day. If it goes out, you die. It's that simple. So someone is always on fire duty, feeding it, watching it, protecting it from wind and snow. But even with fire, you're never truly warm. The heat doesn't spread. It radiates in a small circle. If you're sitting close, your front is warm. Your back is freezing. You rotate like a rotisserie chicken trying to thaw all sides. Your clothes are layers of animal hide, mammoth fur, bison leather, reindeer skin. All of it sewn together with sinew thread and bone needles. The stitching is crude. There are gaps. Cold air seeps through. Your boots are leather, stuffed with dry grass for insulation. But the grass gets damp from sweat and snow. Damp means cold. Cold means frostbite. Frostbite is common. Your fingers, toes, nose, ears, any exposed skin is vulnerable. It starts as numbness. Then the skin turns white. Then black. Then it dies. You've seen people lose fingers, toes, entire hands. They don't complain. Complaining doesn't help. At night, everyone huddles together. Body heat is shared. You sleep in a pile, like animals. There's no privacy, no personal space, just survival. But even then, the cold seeps in. You wake up multiple times, shivering, your breath fogging in the dark. You add more fuel to the fire. You pull the furs tighter. You try to fall back asleep. Sometimes people don't wake up. They go to sleep and their body just stops. Hypothermia is a quiet killer. You drift off. You stop shivering. Your heart slows, and you're gone. No one mourns for long. There's no time. The body's dragged outside, left for scavengers, and life continues. The cold doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't care about your plans. It simply is. And you either adapt, or you die. Chapter 6. Water is a weapon. You'd think in a world covered in snow and ice, water wouldn't be a problem. You'd be wrong. Yes, there's snow everywhere. But snow is not water. Not yet. You have to melt it. And melting snow takes time, fuel, and energy, all of which are in short supply. Every morning someone fills a crude container, maybe a hollowed-out skull, maybe a leather pouch, maybe a carved stone bowl with snow, and sets it near the fire. Slowly, painfully slowly, it melts. You wait. You watch. You try not to drink it too fast, because once it's gone, you have to start the process all over again. Drinking snow directly is dangerous. It lowers your core body temperature. Your body has to work to melt it internally, burning precious calories you don't have. So you wait for the fire to do the work. If you're near a river or stream, things are easier. Kind of. The water is frozen on top, so you have to chip through the ice with a rock or a bone tool. Your hands go numb. Your fingers crack and bleed. But eventually you break through, and you can drink. Except you have no idea if the water is safe. Upstream, there might be a dead animal rotting in the current. There might be parasites, bacteria. Drinking bad water means sickness, and sickness in the Ice Age means death. Diarrhea? You dehydrate. You weaken. You can't hunt. You can't work. You become a burden. Vomiting? Same problem. There's no medicine. No antibiotics. No IV fluids. Your body either fights it off or it doesn't. So you take the risk. You drink the water because you have no choice. and you hope your immune system, hardened by years of exposure to filth and disease, can handle it. Bathing? Forget it. Water is too precious to waste on cleaning your body, and besides, getting wet in this climate is suicide. Wet skin loses heat 25 times faster than dry skin. Wet clothes freeze solid. You'd be dead within hours, so you don't bathe, you don't wash. You live in your own filth, your own sweat, your own blood. Everyone smells. No one cares. Hygiene is a concept that won't exist for another 20,000 years. The only time you get clean is when you sweat during hard labour, or when snow melts on your skin. That's it. Water, in the Ice Age, is not refreshing. It's not soothing. It's just another challenge in a long list of things trying to kill you. Chapter 7. Medicine is guesswork and pain. Let's say you get hurt. A sprained ankle, a deep cut, a broken bone. What happens next? You suffer. That's what happens. There are no doctors, no surgeons, no pharmacies. If you're lucky, your group has an elder who knows a few tricks. Herbal remedies, poultices made from crushed plants, rituals. But most of it is guesswork. Got a cut? Someone might pack it with moss or clay to stop the bleeding. Maybe they spit on it. Maybe they burn it shut with a hot stone. There's no concept of sterilization. Infection is common. If the wound gets infected, your options are grim. The area swells. It turns red, then purple, then black. Pus oozes out. The smell is horrific. Fever sets in. You become delirious. Sometimes someone tries to cut away the infected flesh with a stone knife. While you're awake, you scream, you thrash. Others hold you down. It's brutal, and it usually doesn't work. If you're really unlucky, gangrene sets in. The tissue dies, the infection spreads, and you die slowly, painfully, while everyone watches. Broken bones? Even worse. If it's a simple fracture, maybe someone can set it. They pull the limb straight, splint it with sticks and leather, and hope it heals correctly. Most of the time, it doesn't. The bone heals crooked. You limp for the rest of your life, or the break damages nerves and muscles, leaving the limb useless. If it's a compound fracture, bone sticking through the skin, you're probably done. The wound will get infected. You'll die within days. Childbirth is another gamble. Women give birth in the shelter, crouched or lying down, surrounded by other women who may or may not know what they're doing. There's no prenatal care, no ultrasounds, no epidurals. Labour lasts hours, sometimes days. If the baby is positioned wrong, both mother and child can die. If the mother hemorrhages, she bleeds out. If the baby doesn't breathe, it's over. Even if the birth is successful, the infant's survival is far from guaranteed. Many babies die within the first year. Cold, hunger, disease. The mortality rate is staggering. For adults, illness is just as deadly. A bad cough can turn into pneumonia. A stomach bug can lead to fatal dehydration. A toothache can abscess, spread to your jaw and kill you. There's no germ theory. No understanding of bacteria or viruses. Sickness is seen as bad luck, angry spirits, or punishment. Treatments involve chanting, dancing, or leaving offerings to appease whatever force is causing the suffering. Pain is constant. Everyone lives with it. Aching joints, rotting teeth, old injuries that never healed right. You just endure it. Complaining is pointless. Everyone is suffering. You're not special. In the Ice Age, medicine is hope, prayer, and a lot of screaming. And most of the time, it doesn't help. Chapter 8. Dinner is just more survival. The sun is setting. You've worked all day, you're exhausted, starving, your hands are cracked and bleeding. Your body aches in places you didn't know existed. Time for dinner. If the hunters were successful, there's meat. Maybe a reindeer, maybe a horse. The animal is dragged back to camp, and the butchering begins immediately. There's no refrigeration, no preservation. Meat spoils fast, even in the cold, so you eat as much as you can, as fast as you can. The butchering is a group effort. Stone knives hack through hide and muscle, blood pools in the snow. Internal organs are removed. Some are eaten immediately raw because they're packed with nutrients. Liver, heart, kidneys. You don't cook them, you don't season them, you just eat. The rest of the meat is divided. The best cuts go to the hunters. They earned it. They risked their lives. The rest is distributed based on need and hierarchy. Elders get some, children get some, everyone else fights for scraps. If you're really lucky, someone has saved some fat. Fat is gold. It's calorically dense. It keeps you warm. You eat it plain, or you render it over the fire and mix it with dried meat to make pemmican, a portable, long-lasting food. But tonight, it's just meat. Roasted over the fire, no seasoning, no sides, just charred flesh, tough and gamey. You eat with your hands, you tear at it with your teeth. Your face gets greasy, your fingers are slick with fat. You don't care, it's food. Sometimes there's no meat. The hunters came back empty-handed, so you eat whatever you gathered. Roots, tubers, maybe some frozen berries you found buried under snow. It's not enough, it's never enough, but it's something. You gnaw on a root, hard and bitter. Your stomach growls. You're still hungry, but the food is gone. There's nothing left. So you drink some melted snow, chew on a piece of dried sinew to trick your stomach into thinking it's full, and you try to sleep. Dinner in the Ice Age isn't a meal, it's a reminder that you're one bad hunt away from starvation. Chapter 9. The night is full of threats. The sun has set. Darkness blankets the frozen landscape. You retreat to your shelter, huddling close to the fire with the others. But the night is not peaceful. It's filled with sounds, and every sound is a potential threat. The wind howls. It's a constant, maddening noise. But beneath it you hear other things. The crack of ice, the rustle of movement, the distant howl of a wolf. Wolves are a constant danger. They hunt in packs. They're smart. They know humans are vulnerable at night. They've been known to circle camps waiting for someone to step outside, waiting for the fire to die. Your group takes turns keeping watch. Someone always stays awake, feeding the fire, listening. If the fire goes out, you're all at risk. Predators are attracted to darkness. Cave lions are even worse, massive, powerful, and fearless. They've been known to drag people out of shelters. You've heard the stories, everyone has. Then there are the hyenas. They don't hunt you directly, but they scavenge. If someone dies in the camp, they'll come for the body. They'll tear through hides and bones to get to it. And let's not forget the cold. Even inside the shelter, the temperature drops at night. You huddle together, but it's not enough. You wake up shivering. Your breath fogs in the dark. You add more fuel to the fire, but the wood is running low. Sleep is fractured. You drift off. Wake up. Drift off again. Your body's exhausted, but your mind is alert. Survival doesn't let you rest. Sometimes you hear screaming. Maybe it's a nightmare. Maybe it's someone in another group far away. Maybe it's something else. You don't go to investigate. You stay inside. You stay close to the fire. If someone needs to relieve themselves at night, they do it just outside the entrance. They don't go far. Going far is how people disappear. The night stretches on. Hours feel like days. Eventually the sky begins to lighten. Dawn is coming. You've survived another night. But the relief is brief, because now the whole cycle starts again. Chapter 10. The hunt is life or death. Today, you're hunting. It's not optional. The group needs food, and you're one of the hunters. You grab your spear, check the stone tip to make sure it's secure, and head out with 3 others. The sun is barely up. The cold is brutal. You're tracking a herd of reindeer. You saw their prints yesterday. Fresh. They're close. You walk for hours, quietly, carefully. Your eyes scan the horizon. Your ears listen for any sound. You're not just hunting, you're also being hunted. Predators follow the herds too. Finally you spot them. A dozen reindeer, grazing on exposed lichen. They haven't seen you yet. You signal to the others. You spread out. Slowly. Silently. You're downwind. Good. If they smell you, they'll bolt. The plan is simple. Drive them toward a narrow pass, trap them, then strike. You move into position. Your heart pounds. Your breath is shallow. This is it. One of the hunters shouts. The reindeer startle. They run. Exactly as planned. You sprint after them. Your legs burning. Your lungs screaming. The reindeer are fast, but you're persistent. They funnel into the pass. Perfect. You close in. You raise your spear. You aim for the largest one. A bull. You throw. The spear flies. It hits, but not perfectly. It grazes the reindeer's side. The animal stumbles but doesn't fall. It keeps running. Damn. You chase it. The others join. The reindeer is bleeding, slowing. You're gaining. Finally it collapses, exhausted, dying. You approach carefully. It's still dangerous. A kick from those hooves can shatter bone. One of the hunters delivers the killing blow, a spear to the throat. The reindeer twitches, then goes still. You did it. The relief is overwhelming. This animal will feed the group for days, maybe a week. You begin the butchering process immediately. You can't carry the whole animal, too heavy. So you take the best parts, meat, organs, hide, bones. The rest is left for scavengers. Wolves will find it within hours. You load up. Your back aches under the weight. But it doesn't matter. You're bringing food home. The walk back is long, exhausting, but you feel good. Accomplished. You've done your job. When you arrive at camp, the others cheer. Not loudly, just a low murmur of approval. Everyone is relieved. The hunt was successful. Tonight, everyone eats. But you know this won't last. In a few days, you'll be hungry again. And you'll have to do it all over again. Chapter 11. The shelter is barely enough. Let's talk about where you live. Because calling it a home is generous. Your shelter is a hut made from mammoth bones, wooden poles, and animal hides. It's dome-shaped, low to the ground, and held together with mud, sinew, and desperation. The structure is built by the entire group. It takes days. You dig a shallow pit in the ground for insulation. Then you arrange large bones, femurs, ribs, skulls, in a circular frame. Smaller bones and branches fill the gaps. Animal hides are draped over the top and secured with stones and stakes. The entrance is a small flap of leather. No door, no lock. Just a piece of hide that flaps in the wind. Inside, the space is cramped. Maybe 10 feet across. The ceiling is so low you can't stand up straight. You crouch, you crawl, you sit. The floor is dirt, packed down by years of use. It's cold, it's damp, it smells like smoke, blood, and wet fur. In the centre, a fire pit, stones arranged in a circle. This is the heart of the shelter. Without the fire, the shelter is just a tomb. Around the fire, sleeping areas, piles of furs and dried grass. No beds, no furniture, just the ground. Everyone sleeps close together. There's no privacy, no personal space. You hear everything. Snoring, coughing, crying, bodily functions. It's all just part of life. The walls are thin. Wind seeps through the gaps. Snow sometimes blows inside. The fire helps, but it doesn't eliminate the cold. It just makes it bearable. Smoke is a constant problem. There's no chimney. The smoke rises and fills the shelter. Your eyes burn. Your throat is raw. You cough constantly. Everyone does. But smoke is better than cold. So you deal with it. The shelter is also home to pests. Lice, fleas, mites. They live in the furs, in your hair, on your skin. You itch constantly. Everyone does. Scratching is a reflex. Sometimes rodents get inside, mice, voles. They scurry around looking for food scraps. You try to catch them. Sometimes you eat them. The shelter is dark. The only light comes from the fire. When the fire is low, you're in near total darkness. You can't see your hand in front of your face. At night, the darkness is oppressive. The sounds are amplified. Every creak, every rustle, every gust of wind sounds like a threat. But this shelter, crude as it is your best defense against the elements. It's not much, but it's all you have. And you'll defend it with your life, because without it, you're just another frozen corpse on the tundra. Chapter 12. Clothing is survival gear. Let's talk about what you're wearing, because in the Ice Age, fashion is survival. Your outfit consists of animal hides, lots of them, layered. The base layer is a tunic made from soft reindeer skin. It's stitched together with sinew thread using a bone needle. The stitching is crude but functional. The tunic reaches your mid-thigh and is tied at the waist with a leather cord. Over that, leggings, also made from hide. They're tight, uncomfortable, and smell like the animal they came from. Your feet are wrapped in leather boots, lined with fur. The soles are thick, made from multiple layers of hide. Inside, you stuff dried grass for insulation, but the grass gets damp from sweat. And damp grass is useless. On top of everything, a cloak, heavy, made from mammoth or bison hide. It's fastened at the shoulder with a bone pin. The cloak is your shield against the wind, but it's also stiff, heavy, and awkward. If you're really prepared, you have a hood, fur-lined. It covers your head and face, leaving just a small opening for your eyes. But here's the thing, none of this is enough. The cold still seeps in. The wind still cuts through. Your extremities, fingers, toes, nose, ears, are constantly at risk. You don't have gloves, not really. Maybe some mittens made from fur, but they're clumsy. You can't grip anything properly, so you often go barehanded even when it's freezing. Your hands are cracked, bleeding, The skin is raw and red. Frostbite is a constant threat. Maintaining your clothing is a full-time job. Hides dry out and crack. Stitching comes loose. You have to constantly repair, replace, and adjust. Every time you kill an animal, part of it goes to clothing. The hide is scraped, cleaned, dried, and cut. Then it's stitched into something useful. Tanning is a long process. You scrape away the fat and flesh. You rub the hide with animal brains or urine to soften it. You stretch it, dry it, sometimes smoke it to preserve it. It takes days, and the smell is indescribable, but without proper clothing you die. It's that simple. So you wear your stinking, uncomfortable patchwork layers, and you're grateful for them, because out there exposed you'd be dead in hours. Chapter 13. Social life is survival. You might think the Ice Age is lonely. It's not. You're never alone. You live in a small group, maybe 10 to 30 people, extended family, clan, tribe. You've known these people your entire life. You'll die with them. There's no privacy, no personal space, no concept of me time. You eat together, sleep together, work together, survive together. Social bonds are everything. Trust is currency. If you can't rely on your group, you die. But that doesn't mean it's peaceful. There are tensions, arguments, resentments. Someone took more food. Someone didn't pull their weight. Someone insulted someone else. But you can't just leave. You can't storm off and live alone. That's suicide. So you deal with it. You argue. You sulk. You move on. Conflict resolution is simple. The strongest, wisest, or most respected person makes the call. There's no democracy. No voting, just authority. If someone breaks the rules, steals, shirks, or endangers the group, they're punished. Maybe they're beaten. Maybe they're exiled. Exile is a death sentence. Romance exists, but it's not like today. There are no dates, no courtship rituals. Relationships are practical. You pair up with someone who can help you survive. Someone strong, fertile, reliable. Marriage doesn't exist in the formal sense, but pair bonds do. Couples share resources, share labour, share children. Infidelity happens. Jealousy happens. But there's no time for drama. You deal with it and move on. Children are raised communally. Everyone watches them. Everyone teaches them. They belong to the group as much as to their parents. Elders are respected, but only if they're useful. If an elder can still contribute, teach, craft, advise, they're valued. If they become too weak, too slow, too much of a burden, they're quietly left behind. It sounds cruel. But in the Ice Age, sentimentality is a luxury. Entertainment is minimal. At night around the fire, people tell stories, sing, dance. These aren't just for fun, they're cultural, educational, they pass down knowledge, history, warnings. You might carve small figurines from bone or stone, little totems, animals, people. They serve as art, talismans, or toys for children. Laughter exists. Even in the harshest conditions, humans find ways to laugh. A joke, a prank, a shared moment of absurdity. It's a release, a reminder that you're still human. But most of the time, life is too exhausting for levity. You're too tired, too hungry, too cold. Your social life isn't about connection, it's about cooperation. You don't need to like these people, you just need to survive with them, and that's what you do. Day after day, year after year, until one by one they die, and new ones are born, and the cycle continues. Chapter 14. The landscape is alien. Let's step back and look at the world around you. Because the Ice Age Earth is nothing like the world you know. During the Pleistocene epoch, massive ice sheets cover huge portions of the northern hemisphere. These aren't just frozen lakes. These are glaciers, rivers of ice, miles thick, grinding slowly across the continents. In some places, the ice is so thick it depresses the Earth's crust. When it finally melts thousands of years from now, the land will rebound, rising like bread dough. But you don't know any of that. You just know that to the north, there's nothing but endless white. A frozen wasteland that kills anyone foolish enough to venture too far. Where you live, somewhere in what will one day be Europe or Asia or North America, the landscape is tundra. Flat, treeless, frozen. Grasses and shrubs grow low to the ground, tough and wiry. In summer, they turn green. In winter, they're buried under snow. There are no forests here. Trees can't survive the cold and wind. Occasionally, you find a patch of stunted willows or birches clinging to life in a sheltered valley, but mostly it's open plains. The sky is huge, endless. During the day it's a pale, washed-out blue. At night it's black and filled with more stars than you can count. The Milky Way stretches across the heavens like a river of light. Sometimes you see the aurora, shimmering curtains of green and purple dancing across the sky. You don't understand what causes it. It's magic, or the gods, or spirits of the dead. It's beautiful and terrifying. The horizon is broken by distant mountains, jagged peaks capped with ice. You've never been there. They're too far, too dangerous, but they loom like silent guardians. Rivers and streams crisscross the land, but in winter they're frozen solid. In summer they flood with meltwater, carving new channels and drowning the lowlands. Everywhere you see signs of megafauna. Mammoth bones bleached white by the sun, massive skulls half buried in the permafrost, tracks in the snow, some familiar, some enormous and strange. This is a world dominated by giants, and you are very, very small. The silence is profound. In winter, with the snow muffling everything, you can hear your own heartbeat, the crunch of your footsteps, the wheeze of your breath. But that silence is deceptive, because danger is always close, always watching. This landscape doesn't care about you. It's indifferent, brutal, beautiful in its starkness, but utterly without mercy. You are a visitor here, a temporary flicker of life in an endless, frozen expanse, and the land will outlast you by millennia. Chapter 15. The megafauna could kill you now. Let's talk about your neighbours, the animals. Because the Ice Age is the age of megafauna, massive creatures that make modern animals look like house pets. First, the mammoth. Woolly mammoths stand up to 11 feet tall at the shoulder and weigh 6 tons. They're covered in thick, shaggy fur. Their tusks curve dramatically, sometimes reaching 14 feet in length. You've seen them. Everyone has. They travel in herds, moving slowly across the tundra, grazing on grasses and shrubs. They're majestic, powerful, and extremely dangerous. Hunting a mammoth is a group effort. It requires planning, coordination, and courage. You don't attack directly. You herd them, drive them into a trap, a pit, a cliff, or you wait until one is sick, old, or separated from the herd. Even then, it's a fight. A wounded mammoth can crush you with a single step, gore you with those tusks, trample you into the frozen ground. But if you succeed, the rewards are immense. Thousands of pounds of meat, fat for fuel, hides for shelter, bones for tools and structure, ivory for carving. A single mammoth can sustain your group for weeks. Then there's the woolly rhinoceros, shorter than a mammoth but just as heavy, with a massive horn on its snout and a temperament that makes modern rhinos look friendly. They're solitary and territorial. If you stumble into one's territory, it will charge, and when it charges, you run, or you die. Cave lions are another nightmare. Bigger than modern lions, stronger, with a mane that makes them look like something out of myth. They hunt in prides. They're fast, silent, deadly. You've heard stories of cave lions dragging people from their shelters in the night. You believe them. Then there's the short-faced bear, standing 12 feet tall on its hind legs, fast enough to run down a horse, with jaws powerful enough to crack a mammoth skull. You don't hunt short-faced bears. You avoid them. If you see one, you back away slowly. You pray it's not hungry. Saber-toothed cats prowl the landscape too, with fangs like daggers, built for ambush. They hide in tall grass or behind rocks and explode into action when prey gets close. Even the herbivores are dangerous. Giant ground sloths, standing 8 feet tall, with claws like swords. They're slow but incredibly powerful. One swipe and your intestines are decorating the snow. Then there are the smaller threats. Dire wolves. Larger and stronger than modern wolves, hunting in packs of 20 or more. They follow the herds, but they'll also follow humans. You've lost people to wolves, everyone has. Hyenas too. Scavengers mostly, but opportunistic hunters. They'll test your defences, probe for weakness. If they sense vulnerability, they attack. And let's not forget the aurochs, wild cattle standing 6 feet at the shoulder, with horns that can impale you. Or the megalochorus, giant deer with antlers spanning 12 feet. Beautiful, but deadly if cornered. Every day you share this landscape with creatures that could kill you in seconds. You're not at the top of the food chain, you're somewhere in the middle, and you know it. So you stay alert, you travel in groups, you carry weapons, and you hope that today you're not on the menu. Chapter 16. Death is always close. Let's be honest, you're probably not going to live long. The average lifespan in the Ice Age is somewhere around 25 to 30 years, but that's skewed by infant mortality. If you survive childhood, you might make it to 40, maybe 50 if you're incredibly lucky. But most people don't make it that far. Infants die all the time. Childbirth complications, exposure, illness, starvation. The mortality rate for children under 5 is staggering. Maybe half don't make it. If you survive childhood, you face new dangers. Hunting accidents, animal attacks, infections, starvation, freezing. Every day is a roll of the dice. Someone in your group dies every few months. It's just part of life. You wake up and someone didn't. Or they went out to hunt and never came back. Or they got sick and wasted away over a week. Death is not hidden. It's visible, present. You see it happen. You see the body. You handle it. When someone dies, the group responds quickly. In winter, the body is dragged outside and left for scavengers. There's no time for elaborate burials. The ground is frozen solid. You can't dig. In summer, if there's time, you might bury them. A shallow grave. Maybe some stones on top to keep animals from digging it up. Maybe some offerings, tools, food, ornaments, to accompany them to whatever comes next. Or maybe you don't. Maybe you're too busy surviving. Some groups practice ritual burial. The body is placed in a specific position, covered in red ochre, surrounded by meaningful objects. This isn't just about disposal, it's about belief, about honouring the dead, about ensuring they're prepared for the next world. But not everyone gets that. Only the important ones. The skilled hunters, the wise elders, the beloved. Everyone else just goes. Grief exists, but it's brief. You mourn for a day, maybe 2, then you move on, because you have to. Survival doesn't stop for sadness. Children lose parents. Parents lose children. Siblings lose siblings. It's constant. You become numb to it, not because you don't care, but because caring too much will break you, and you can't afford to be broken. So you acknowledge the loss, you remember them in stories, and you keep going. Because in the Ice Age, the only way to honour the dead is to stay alive yourself. Chapter 17. Fire is everything. Let's talk about the single most important thing in your life. Not food, not shelter, not even family. Fire. Fire is everything. It's warmth, light, protection, cooking, tool making, life itself. Without fire, you die. It's that simple. Making fire is not easy. You don't have matches, you don't have lighters, you have friction and sparks. The most common method is the hand drill. You take a wooden stick and a wooden board. You carve a small notch in the board. You place the stick in the notch and spin it rapidly between your palms, pressing down. Friction generates heat. The wood dust in the notch begins to smoulder. You keep spinning, your hands blister, your arms burn, sweat drips despite the cold. Finally, smoke. Then an ember, a tiny glowing coal. You transfer the ember to a bundle of dry grass or shredded bark. You blow gently. The ember grows, smoke thickens, then suddenly flame. The whole process takes 10 to 30 minutes, and that's if everything goes right. If the wood is damp, it won't work. If you don't apply enough pressure, it won't work. If the tinder isn't dry, it won't work. So you protect your fire. You never let it go out. Someone is always responsible for keeping it alive, feeding it, watching it. At night you bank the coals. You cover them with ash to slow the burn. In the morning you uncover them and add kindling. If the fire goes out because of rain, wind or negligence, it's a disaster. You have to start over. And in the meantime, you're vulnerable. Cold, exposed. Some groups carry fire with them when they travel. A smouldering bundle of moss or fungus kept alive in a container made from bark or horn. It's primitive but effective. Fire is also used for hunting. You can use torches to drive animals into traps, or light-controlled burns to clear land and encourage new growth, which attracts game. Fire hardens wooden spear tips. Fire cracks rocks to make sharp tools. Fire renders fat. Fire smokes meat for preservation, and fire keeps predators away. Wolves, lions, bears. They fear fire. A blazing fire around your camp is your first line of defense, but fire is also dangerous. It can spread, burn your shelter, consume your supplies, scar your skin. You've seen people with burn scars, missing fingers, faces melted by accidents. But the risk is worth it, because fire is life. You worship it. In a sense, you feed it, protect it, speak to it, thank it. Because without fire, you're just another animal. With it, you're human. And in the Ice Age, that distinction is survival. Chapter 18. Tools are handmade and precious. Everything you use, you make. Every tool, every weapon, every piece of clothing, there's no store, no factory, just your hands and raw materials. Your most important tool is the hand axe, a piece of flint or chert carefully knapped, struck with another stone to flake off chips, shaping it into a sharp, wedge-shaped tool. It takes skill, precision. One wrong hit and the stone shatters. Hours of work gone, but a good hand axe is invaluable. You use it to butcher animals, cut wood, scrape hides, dig. It's your multi-tool. Then there's the spear, your primary weapon. A wooden shaft, as straight as you can find, sharpened at one end. If you're skilled, you attach a stone point to the tip, bound with sinew and sealed with tree resin or animal fat. The spear is your lifeline. You use it to hunt, to defend, to probe the ground, to test ice thickness. You also have scrapers, flat stones with a sharp edge, used to clean hides and scrape meat from bones. Bone needles, painstakingly carved from slivers of bone sharpened to a fine point. You use them to stitch hides together. Bone awls for punching holes, antler hammers for knapping stone, sharpened shells for cutting. Everything is repurposed, nothing is wasted. When an animal is killed, every part is used. Meat for eating, fat for fuel and waterproofing, hide for clothing and shelter, bones for tools and structures, sinew for thread, bladders for water containers, horns for cups or tool handles. Even the hooves can be boiled down for glue. Tool-making is a skill passed down through generations. You learn by watching, by practicing, by failing and trying again. Some people are better at it than others. They become the toolmakers, valued, respected, because good tools mean survival. You carry your tools with you always. They're tied to your belt or slung over your shoulder in a leather pouch. Losing your tools is catastrophic, and when a tool breaks, and they do frequently, you make a new one, immediately, because without tools you're helpless. In the Ice Age, technology is stone, bone and wood. Simple, elegant, and absolutely essential. Chapter 19. The Seasons Dictate. Everything. Life in the Ice Age revolves around the seasons, not the mild, predictable seasons you know. These are brutal, unforgiving cycles that determine whether you live or die. Winter is hell. The days are short, sometimes only a few hours of weak sunlight. The rest is darkness, temperatures plummet, the wind screams, snow buries everything. You stay inside as much as possible. Venturing out is dangerous. Frostbite, whiteouts, getting lost, predators. Food is scarce. The herds have migrated, plants are dead. You survive on stored food, dried meat, fat, whatever you manage to preserve from autumn. But storage is limited. No refrigeration, no canning, just drying, smoking, and hoping it lasts. If you run out before spring, you starve. Winter is when most people die. The cold, starvation, illness, accidents, cabin fever leading to violence. You wait, endure, pray for spring. Spring is relief. The days lengthen, temperatures rise, snow melts. The herds return. Plants begin to grow. You can hunt again, gather again, breathe again. But spring is also chaotic. Flooding from snowmelt, mud everywhere, rivers overflowing. The landscape is treacherous, and you're weak from winter, malnourished, exhausted. You have to rebuild your strength quickly. Summer is abundance, long days, warmth, plenty of food. The herds are fat. Plants are everywhere. Berries, roots, greens. You eat as much as you can. You store as much as you can. You repair your shelter, make new tools, stitch new clothing, prepare for the next winter. Summer is also when you travel. Maybe you follow the herds. Maybe you visit another group to trade or find mates. Maybe you explore new territory. But summer is short. You can't waste it. Autumn is preparation. The days shorten. The air cools. You feel the urgency. You hunt intensely. Every kill is precious. You dry the meat, render the fat, Stockpile firewood, you reinforce your shelter, repair your clothing, gather every last edible plant before the frost kills it. Autumn is a race against time, and when the first snow falls, the race is over. You either prepared enough or you didn't, and if you didn't, winter will kill you. The seasons are not just weather, they're the rhythm of existence, the cycle of survival. You live and die by them. Chapter 20. Migration is survival. You don't stay in one place. You can't. The Ice Age landscape doesn't allow it. You're nomadic. You follow the herds, follow the seasons, follow the food. Your group moves several times a year, sometimes more. When game disappears, you move. When a water source freezes, you move. When resources are exhausted, you move. Each move is a massive undertaking. You dismantle your shelter, or abandon it if you're not coming back. You pack everything you own, tools, hides, food, children. You walk for days, sometimes weeks. The journey is exhausting. You carry heavy loads. The terrain is rough. The weather is hostile. Children slow you down. So do the elderly, but you can't leave them. Not unless they're too weak to travel. Then you have a choice. A terrible choice. Sometimes people are left behind. The old, the sick, the injured. They can't keep up. They're a burden. It's not done out of cruelty. It's done out of necessity. The group must survive. The person left behind knows this. They don't fight it. They accept it. They sit down. And they wait for the cold or the predators to take them. You don't look back. Migration routes are passed down through generations. You know where the herds go, where the water is, where the shelter sites are. But the landscape changes. Ice advances. Rivers shift. What was safe last year might be deadly now. So you adapt. You scout. You take risks. Sometimes you encounter other groups. This can be good or bad. Good if they're friendly. You might trade, share information, exchange members to prevent inbreeding. Bad if they're hostile, territorial, desperate. Conflicts happen. Violence. Sometimes you fight. Sometimes you flee. Resources are limited. Competition is fierce. Your group's territory, the land you roam, is probably a few hundred square miles. Maybe more. You know it intimately, every hill, every stream, every cave, but you also know the boundaries, the places you don't go, because others claim them. Trespassing can mean death, so you migrate carefully, deliberately, always aware of where you are and who else might be nearby. Migration is not an adventure, it's survival, a necessary, exhausting, dangerous routine, but it's the only way to stay alive in a world where nothing stays the same. Chapter 21. Language is simple but essential. You have language, not like today's complex grammar and vast vocabulary, but language nonetheless is probably limited. A few hundred words, mostly concrete, mammoth, fire, cold, danger, food, water. Abstract concepts are harder. Time, future, maybe. You have ways to express them, but they're simple. Grammar is basic. Subject, verb, object. We hunt mammoth. Fire goes out. Child is cold. You don't write. Writing doesn't exist. Everything is oral, passed down through stories, songs, demonstrations. Your language is tied to survival. Most words describe things you need. Animals, plants, weather, tools, actions. There are words for different types of snow, different types of wind, different types of danger. But there are no words for things that don't matter. No words for leisure, for boredom, for retirement. Communication is often nonverbal. Gestures, facial expressions, grunts. You spend so much time together, you don't need words for everything. A look says danger. A hand signal says be quiet. A nod says I understand. Storytelling is crucial. It's how knowledge is preserved, how history is remembered. At night, around the fire, the elders tell stories about past hunts, about ancestors, about the land, about the animals. These aren't just entertainment, they're education, lessons, warnings. A story about a hunter who went too far north and froze to death teaches you boundaries. A story about a group that ignored the signs and starved teaches you to prepare. Children listen, they memorize. They'll tell these stories to their children. Songs also play a role. Rhythmic, repetitive, easy to remember. They help with tasks, keep rhythm while grinding grain or scraping hides, and they bond the group. Shared songs, shared language, shared identity. You probably also have rituals. Words or chants said before a hunt, after a kill, at a burial. These words are special, sacred. They connect you to something bigger. The spirits, the gods, the ancestors. Language, simple as it is, makes you human. It separates you from the animals. It allows cooperation, planning, tradition. And in the Ice Age, those things are the difference between extinction and survival. Chapter 22. Art exists, barely surprisingly. Even in the midst of constant survival, art exists. Not art for art's sake, not decoration, but something deeper, something spiritual. You carve small figurines from bone, ivory or stone. Usually animals, mammoth, bison, horses. Occasionally human figures, often female with exaggerated hips and breasts. These figurines aren't toys, they're totems, symbols. Maybe they're meant to bring luck in hunting. Maybe they represent fertility, abundance, the continuation of life. You don't carve them often, only when there's time, when your belly is full and the fire is warm and you have a moment to think beyond the next meal. Some groups create cave paintings. Deep inside caves, by flickering torchlight, they paint animals on the walls, handprints, symbols. The paintings are stunning. Even with primitive tools, charcoal, ochre, animal fat, they capture movement, life, power. But why? Why spend precious time and resources creating art in a frozen wasteland? Maybe it's religious, a way to honour the animals you hunt, to ask permission, to give thanks. Maybe it's educational, teaching the young what animals look like, how they move, where to strike. Or maybe it's simply human, a need to leave a mark, to say I was here, I existed, I mattered. You also decorate your tools and weapons, not elaborately, just small carvings, patterns, symbols. A spear with a carved handle feels different. It's yours. Personal. Jewellery exists too. Beads made from shells, bones or stones, pierced and strung on sinew. You wear them around your neck or wrist. They serve multiple purposes. Decoration, yes, but also identity, status, tribe affiliation. A certain pattern of beads might signify your group, your role, your achievements, and they're valuable. Portable wealth, something to trade. Music exists as well. Primitive flutes made from bird bones, drums from stretched hide, rattles from dried gourds or hollow bones filled with seeds. You use them in rituals, celebrations, to communicate over distances. A specific rhythm might mean danger. Another might mean return to camp. Art in the Ice Age is not frivolous. It's functional, spiritual, communal. It's proof that even in the harshest conditions humans create, they express. They aspire to something beyond mere survival. And thousands of years later, when archaeologists find your carvings, your paintings, your flutes, they'll be amazed, not just by the skill, but by the fact that in the middle of an ice age someone took the time to make something beautiful. Chapter 23. Spirituality is everywhere. You don't understand the world scientifically. You can't. You don't have that framework, so you explain it spiritually. Everything has a spirit. The animals, the trees, the rocks, the wind, the fire, the sun. These spirits are powerful. They control whether you eat or starve, live or die, so you must appease them, honour them, respect them. Before a hunt you perform rituals. You might fast. Paint yourself with ochre. Chant. Dance. Ask the spirits of the animals for permission to kill. When you make a kill, you thank the animal. You might leave an offering. Bones arranged in a specific pattern. Blood poured on the ground. You believe the animal's spirit will tell the others whether you were respectful. If you were, they'll allow themselves to be hunted again. If not, they'll disappear. The natural world is full of omens. A certain bird flying overhead might mean good luck. A strange sound in the night might mean danger. You watch the sky, the stars, the moon. You notice patterns, cycles. You don't understand astronomy, but you understand timing. The full moon is significant. It lights the night, enables night hunting. It's powerful, sacred. Eclipses terrify you. The sun or moon being eaten. It's a sign, a warning, a punishment. You have shamans, people who claim to communicate with the spirit world. They perform rituals, heal the sick, predict the weather, interpret dreams. Shamans are respected, feared. They wear special clothing, antlers, bones, feathers. They enter trance states, through fasting, dancing, pain, possibly psychoactive plants. In these trances, they claim to visit the spirit world, to gain knowledge, to negotiate with the spirits on behalf of the group. You believe them. You have to. Because in a world full of uncertainty, You need to believe someone has answers. Death is not the end. You believe in an afterlife, a spirit world where the dead continue to exist. That's why some burials are elaborate. The dead need tools, food, ornaments for their journey. You might bury someone facing a certain direction, toward the rising sun, or toward the hunting grounds. You fear the dead. Their spirits might linger, cause problems. So you perform rituals to send them on their way. Spirituality in the Ice Age isn't separate from life. It is life. It's woven into every action, every decision. You don't hunt for food. You hunt with permission from the spirits. You don't survive the cold. You survive because the spirits allow it. And when you die, you don't end. You transform. This belief system gives you comfort, purpose, a sense of control in a world where you have very little, and it binds the group together. Shared beliefs, shared rituals, shared identity. In the Ice Age, spirituality isn't optional, it's essential. Chapter 24. You are tougher than you think. Let's acknowledge something. You're surviving. Against all odds, you're alive. Your body is harder than any modern human's. Your immune system, constantly exposed to pathogens, is battle-tested. You get sick, but you recover, or you die. There's no in-between. Your muscles are lean and strong, not gym strong, functional strong. You can walk for hours carrying heavy loads. You can run when necessary. You can fight when cornered. Your pain tolerance is extraordinary. You've lived with chronic discomfort your entire life. Hunger, cold, injuries. You push through it because you have no choice. Your senses are sharper. You notice things modern humans would miss. A broken branch, a faint scent, a distant sound. Your mind is constantly calculating. Threat assessment, resource management, social dynamics. You're not educated in the formal sense, but you're incredibly knowledgeable. You know which plants are edible, which animals are dangerous, how to read the weather, how to navigate by stars. You know how to make fire, build shelter, stitch clothing, butcher an animal, track prey. These skills take years to master, and you've been learning since childhood. You're also mentally resilient. You've watched people die. You've faced starvation. You've survived predators. You don't have PTSD in the clinical sense, but you're hyper-vigilant, always alert, always ready. Sleep is light. You wake at the slightest sound. Trust is hard-earned. Betrayal is deadly. But you also experience joy, relief after a successful hunt, warmth by the fire, the laughter of children, the taste of fresh meat. You find beauty in small things, a clear sky, the aurora, a well-made tool. You're not a caveman stereotype, grunting and dragging clubs. You're intelligent, creative, adaptable. You're human, fully human, and you're doing something incredible. You're surviving in one of the harshest environments Earth has ever produced. Your descendants, thousands of generations from now, will live in heated homes. They'll have medicine, grocery stores, technology, but they'll have you to thank. Because you survived. You adapted. You passed on your genes, your knowledge, your resilience. You are the ancestor, the foundation, and without you, none of them exist. So yes, life is brutal. Yes, you're cold and hungry and tired, but you're also a survivor, a pioneer, a testament to human endurance. And that's worth something. Chapter 25. The end of the Ice Age. Eventually you won't live to see it, but the Ice Age will end. Slowly. Over thousands of years. The climate will warm. The ice sheets will retreat. The tundra will transform into forests. The megafauna will die out, unable to adapt. But your people will survive. They'll adapt. They'll spread across continents. They'll invent agriculture, build cities, develop writing. They'll create art, music, philosophy. They'll reach for the stars. All because you, and people like you, refused to give up. You endured the cold, the hunger, the fear. You made fire. You made tools. You made plans. You protected your group. You passed on knowledge. You left your mark. In caves, in carvings, in the genetic code of every human alive today. The Ice Age was brutal, but it didn't break you. It forged you. And so tonight, as you lie in your comfortable bed, in your climate-controlled room, with food in your fridge and medicine in your cabinet, remember this. You come from survivors. People who faced the literal end of the world, or what felt like it, and kept going. They didn't have the luxury of giving up, so they didn't. And because of them, you're here, warm, safe, alive. So maybe, just maybe, when things get hard, remember where you came from. Remember the ice, the cold, the hunger, and remember that your ancestors survived worse. Much, much worse. And so can you. Chapter 26. Pregnancy and birth are a battle. Let's talk about something we haven't fully covered yet, bringing new life into the Ice Age. If you're a woman of childbearing age, pregnancy is inevitable. There's no birth control, no family planning, sex happens, and sometimes pregnancy follows. You know you're pregnant when your bleeding stops, your belly swells, you feel movement inside, but pregnancy in the Ice Age is not celebrated with baby showers and gender reveals. It's met with cautious hope. Because pregnancy is dangerous. You continue working. There's no maternity leave, no resting with your feet up. You gather, you process hides, you tend the fire, you carry water, your body changes, your back aches, your ankles swell. You're hungrier than usual, but there's never enough food. The fetus takes what it needs. You get what's left. As you grow larger, movement becomes harder. Bending, lifting, walking long distances, but you push through. Because stopping means the group suffers. The other women watch you. They've been through this. They know the signs. They know when your time is near. Labour begins without warning. Maybe you're gathering firewood. Maybe you're scraping a hide. Suddenly, pain. Sharp. Rhythmic. Undeniable. You drop what you're doing, you make your way back to the shelter. The women come with you. Inside, near the fire, you crouch. Or kneel. Or squat. Whatever position feels right. There are no stirrups, no hospital beds. Just the ground and gravity. The women surround you. One holds your shoulders. Another prepares cloths, scraps of leather or fur. Another keeps the fire burning. Labour lasts hours. Sometimes a full day. Sometimes longer. The pain is beyond description. Waves of agony that make you scream. You can't help it. Everyone in camp hears you. No one comments. This is normal. You push. Your body bears down. You feel like you're being torn apart from the inside. One of the women checks your progress. Reaches inside, tells you to push harder. Breathe. Wait. Push again. If the baby is positioned correctly, head first, things might go smoothly. Relatively. But if the baby is breech, feet or bottom first, you're in trouble. The women will try to turn it. Reaching inside, manipulating the fetus, it's excruciating, and it doesn't always work. If the baby won't turn, you push anyway, for hours, maybe days, until either the baby comes out or you die trying. Sometimes the baby gets stuck, shoulders too wide, head too large. You push and push, but nothing happens. You're bleeding, exhausted, delirious with pain. The women make a decision. They reach in, they pull, they use whatever force necessary. Sometimes it works, sometimes they pull out a dead baby, sometimes you hemorrhage and bleed out right there on the floor. But let's say it goes well. The baby emerges, covered in blood and fluid, silent. One of the women grabs it, clears its mouth, slaps its back. The baby gasps, then screams. That cry is the most beautiful sound you've ever heard. They cut the umbilical cord with a stone knife, tie it off with sinew, hand the baby to you. You hold this tiny, fragile thing, your child. You feel overwhelming love and overwhelming fear because you know the statistics. You've seen babies die. Many babies die. The placenta comes next. More pain, more pushing. It slides out bloody and grotesque. The women inspect it, make sure it's complete. If pieces remain inside, you'll get infected. They take the placenta outside, bury it, or burn it, or leave it for animals. It has spiritual significance. It must be handled correctly. You're exhausted, bleeding, shaking, but you're alive, and so is your baby. The women clean you up as best they can, pack moss or fur between your legs to absorb the blood, help you lie down, someone brings you water, maybe some broth if there's meat, and then you're expected to nurse, immediately. You put the baby to your breast, it latches, or it doesn't. If it doesn't, the women help. Guide it. Squeeze your nipple. Force milk out. Breastfeeding is your baby's only food source. There's no formula, no bottles, just you. If your milk doesn't come in, the baby starves. Unless another woman in the group is nursing and can share, but milk production requires calories, and you're already malnourished. So you might produce milk but not enough. Your baby cries, constantly, from hunger, from cold, from discomfort. You do your best, you nurse, you hold, you keep it warm, but babies are fragile, they get sick, infections, respiratory issues, digestive problems, and there's nothing you can do. You watch helplessly as your baby struggles to breathe, or vomits everything it eats, or develops a fever. Most babies who die do so in the first few weeks. If your baby survives the first month, its chances improve. If it survives the first year, even better, but it's never certain. Ever. You've probably had multiple pregnancies, maybe 5, maybe 8, but only 2 or 3 children survived. The others died, as infants, as toddlers, from illness, accidents, starvation, predators. You remember each one, you grieve, but you don't dwell. You can't, because you have to focus on the living, on the children who still need you. Motherhood in the Ice Age is not gentle, it's not soft, it's fierce, protective, desperate. You would kill to protect your children, fight off predators, starve yourself to feed them, carry them for miles when they can't walk, but you also know when to let go. If a child is too sick, too weak, too much of a burden, you make the choice. It's not cruel. It's survival, and it's a choice that haunts you, even though you had no alternative. Pregnancy and birth in the Ice Age are not miracles, they're battles. Bloody, painful, terrifying battles, and the women who survive them are warriors. Chapter 27. Childhood is short and harsh. If you're a child in the Ice Age, your life is hard from the moment you can walk. There's no concept of childhood as a protected, carefree time. You're not a kid, you're a small adult, a future contributor, an investment. As soon as you can toddle, you're expected to help. At 2 or 3 years old, you're gathering small sticks for the fire, carrying light loads, watching younger siblings. By 5, you're doing real work, helping scrape hides, collecting water, sorting through gathered plants to find the edible ones. By 10, you're hunting small game, setting snares for rabbits, using a sling to kill birds, learning to track. There are no toys, not really. Maybe a carved figurine, maybe a leather ball stuffed with grass, but play is brief, functional. It teaches skills you'll need. You play hunt the mammoth with other children. You practice throwing spears at targets. You wrestle to build strength. Education is observation. You watch the adults. You mimic them. You ask questions when allowed. You learn which plants are poisonous by being told once, maybe twice. After that, if you eat the wrong thing, it's your fault. You learn to avoid predators by staying close, by listening, by watching where the adults don't go. You learn respect through discipline. If you misbehave, waste food, make too much noise, endanger the group, you're punished. Maybe you're hit. Maybe you're denied food. Maybe you're yelled at in front of everyone. It's not abuse. It's education. You need to learn. Fast. Because mistakes kill. Children die all the time. From illness. From accidents. From being in the wrong place at the wrong time. A child wanders too far and gets lost. Freezes to death before anyone finds them. A child plays near the fire and gets burned. The wound gets infected. They die. A child eats something they shouldn't. Their stomach ruptures. They die screaming. You've seen it. Everyone has. So you learn caution, fear, vigilance. But you also experience moments of joy, playing with other children, listening to stories, the rare treat of fresh berries or honey. You bond with your siblings, your cousins, the other children in the group. You protect each other, play together, mourn together when one of you dies. Adolescence comes early. By 12 or 13, you're considered an adult. Or close enough. Girls start menstruating. Boys start growing facial hair. Voices deepen. Bodies change. And with that change comes new responsibilities. Girls are expected to help with childcare, food preparation, hide processing. They're also eyed as potential mates. Boys are expected to hunt, to contribute to the group's defense, to prove their strength and skill. Puberty rituals might exist. A boy's first successful hunt is celebrated. He's given his own spear, his own responsibilities. A girl's first menstruation might be marked with rituals. She's isolated for a few days, given instruction by elder women, taught about pregnancy, childbirth, her role. By 15, you're probably paired with someone. Relationships form, sometimes by choice, sometimes by arrangement. The goal is children, continuation of the group, Genetic diversity. Romance exists, but it's secondary to survival. You don't date. You don't court for years. You pair up. You have sex. You have children. And the cycle continues. Childhood in the Ice Age is not innocent. It's not protected. It's a brutal apprenticeship for an even more brutal adulthood, but it's also resilient. Children laugh. They play. They find joy in small things, because even in the harshest conditions the human spirit endures, and children, more than anyone, embody hope. The hope that the group will continue, that life will go on, even when everything suggests it won't. Chapter 28. Conflict is inevitable. Let's talk about violence. Because in the Ice Age, conflict is part of life. Within your own group, tensions run high. Everyone is stressed, hungry, cold, exhausted. Arguments happen over food distribution, over who's not pulling their weight, over perceived slights. Most disputes are resolved through shouting, posturing, maybe some shoving. The group can't afford prolonged conflict, so someone steps in. The leader, the elders, they mediate, they make a ruling, and usually that's the end of it, because everyone knows that infighting weakens the group, but sometimes conflicts escalate. Someone steals food, someone shirks their duties repeatedly, someone commits a serious offence. Punishment is swift, physical, public. The offender might be beaten, humiliated, denied food, exiled. Exile is a death sentence. Cast out from the group, you're alone. No shelter, no fire, no protection. You'll die within days. From cold, starvation, predators. Everyone knows this. So exile is rare. Reserved for the worst offences. Murder within the group is almost unthinkable. But it happens. Rage, jealousy, desperation. If someone kills a group member, the response is brutal. The killer is killed. Immediately. No trial, no appeal. Justice is simple, direct, final. But violence isn't limited to your own group. There are others out there. Other clans, other tribes. Territory is precious. Hunting grounds, water sources, shelter sites, they're competed for. Sometimes two groups encounter each other peacefully. They trade, exchange information, maybe exchange members to prevent inbreeding. But sometimes, encounters are hostile. If your group stumbles into another group's territory, you might be warned off, shouted at, threatened. If you don't leave, things escalate, rocks are thrown, spears are brandished, fighting breaks out. These aren't organised battles. There's no strategy, no formations, just chaos. People fight with whatever they have. Spears, hand axes, rocks, fists. It's brutal, bloody. People get injured, killed. The goal isn't to annihilate the other group, it's to drive them off, to assert dominance, to claim the territory. If your group loses, you retreat, wounded, humiliated, forced to find new hunting grounds. If you win, you claim the territory. Maybe you take captives, young women usually, to add genetic diversity, to increase the group's numbers. Captives are not treated gently. They're outsiders, threats. They're watched constantly, kept under control. Over time, if they prove useful, they might be integrated, accepted, even paired with someone in the group. But that acceptance is never guaranteed. Raiding happens too. If another group has something you need, food, hides, tools, you might raid them. At night, when they're vulnerable, you attack. Take what you can. Kill anyone who resists. It's not evil. It's survival. Your group is starving. They have food. You take it. They do the same to you. Slavery doesn't exist in the formal sense, but captives are forced to work. They're property. Less than full members of the group. Violence is also used for social control. Someone challenges the leader's authority. They're beaten into submission or killed. The strong survive. The weak don't. It's not fair. It's not just. But fairness and justice are modern concepts. In the Ice Age, there's only survival, and survival often requires violence. You've killed, maybe in defense, maybe in a raid, maybe hunting. You've seen people killed. Friends, family, enemies. Death is common. Violence is common. You're desensitized to it, but that doesn't mean it's easy. Killing another human, even an enemy, leaves a mark. You remember their face, their screams, the way they fell. You carry it with you, a weight, a shadow, but you don't talk about it. No one does. You just move on. because in the Ice Age, dwelling on the past is a luxury you can't afford. Chapter 29. Trade and Exchange. Of vital your group doesn't exist in isolation. There are others out there. An interaction, when peaceful, is valuable. Trade happens, not with money, there is no currency, but through barter, exchange. Mutual benefit. Maybe your group has an abundance of flint, good sharp stones for making tools, but you lack certain hides or medicinal plants. Another group, miles away, has what you need, and they need what you have. So you trade. Trade routes exist, paths worn into the landscape by generations of travellers. You follow them carefully. They're known, relatively safe. When two groups meet to trade, it's tense. Even peaceful interactions carry the risk of conflict. You approach slowly, weapons visible but not raised, signs of non-aggression, open hands, calm voices. A designated person from each group steps forward, usually an elder, someone respected. They communicate. Maybe you share a language, maybe not. Gestures work, pointing, showing. You lay out your goods, flint, hides, carved bone tools, dried meat, ochre for painting. They lay out theirs. Shells from the coast, amber, certain types of stone not found in your region, furs from animals that don't live near you. Negotiation is simple. You point to something you want. They point to something they want. You nod or shake your head. Eventually an agreement is reached. Items are exchanged, but trade isn't just about goods. It's about information. The other group tells you where game is plentiful, where water sources are reliable, where dangers lurk. You share your knowledge in return. This information is life-saving, literally. Trade is also about genetics. Groups that never interact become inbred, weak, prone to deformities and illness. So sometimes trade includes people. A young woman from your group joins theirs. A young man from theirs joins yours. It's not romantic, it's practical. Genetic diversity ensures healthier children, stronger groups. The individuals being exchanged might not have a choice, but they understand. This is for the good of both groups. Some items are particularly valuable. Ochre, red iron oxide, is prized. It's used for body painting, rituals, burials. It has spiritual significance. Certain types of stone, flint, obsidian, chert, are essential for tools. If your region doesn't have good stone, you must trade for it. Shells from the coast are valuable far inland. They're exotic, beautiful, used for jewellery and trade. Amber is rare and precious. Fossilized resin, washed up on beaches, it's used for decoration and trade. These items can travel hundreds of miles through trade networks, passed from group to group, each exchange building connections. Trade creates relationships, alliances. Your group and theirs might agree to help each other in times of need. If you're starving, you might approach them for food. They might share, not out of charity, but because they know you'll return the favour. These alliances are fragile, built on trust, easily broken, but in a world where survival is never guaranteed, having allies is invaluable. Trade also spreads ideas, techniques, innovations. Someone in another group figured out a better way to knap stone. They teach you. You adopt it. You discovered a new, edible plant. You share that knowledge. It spreads. This exchange of information drives human progress. Even in the Ice Age, without trade your group would be isolated, inbred, limited. With trade, you're part of a network, a web of human connections spanning vast distances. It's one of the things that makes humans unique, the ability to cooperate, even with strangers, even across groups. In the Ice Age, trade isn't just business, it's survival. Community. Evolution. Chapter 30. Weather can kill in minutes. We've talked about the cold, but let's be more specific about weather, because in the Ice Age, weather is not just uncomfortable, it's lethal. Blizzards are your worst nightmare. They come suddenly. The wind picks up, snow begins to fall. Within minutes, visibility drops to 0. You can't see your hand in front of your face. The wind howls. Snow stings your exposed skin like needles. If you're caught outside during a blizzard, you have minutes to find shelter. Not hours. Minutes. You stumble forward, blind, trying to find your camp, your shelter. Anything. But in whiteout conditions, you can walk in circles, get turned around, wander away from safety instead of toward it. People die this way, frozen solid within yards of their shelter. They couldn't see it. If you can't find shelter, you dig. You burrow into a snowbank, you huddle in a ball, you cover yourself as best you can, and you wait, hoping the blizzard passes before you freeze. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Windstorms are another threat. Even without snow, wind in the tundra is savage. It knocks you down, tears at your clothing, freezes exposed skin instantly. Wind speeds can exceed 60 miles per hour, sustained. For hours, your shelter might collapse, hides ripped away, structure flattened. If that happens, you're exposed, and exposure kills. The group scrambles to rebuild, to salvage what they can, to get the fire relit. But if the wind doesn't stop, you can't rebuild. You just huddle together and endure. Temperature drops are sudden. The sun might be out in the morning. By afternoon, clouds roll in. Temperature plummets 20 degrees in an hour. You go from cold to colder. From colder to deadly, your body struggles. Shivering intensifies, then stops. That's bad. When you stop shivering, you're in hypothermia. Your body's giving up. You feel warm. You might even start removing clothing. It's a delusion. Your brain is dying. If someone notices, they drag you to the fire, force you to drink warm liquid, wrap you in furs, rub your limbs. If they don't notice, you wander off and die. Fog is dangerous too. Thick, disorienting. You can't see predators, can't navigate, can't find your way home. You wait for it to lift, and hope nothing finds you while you wait. Then there's freezing rain, worse than snow. It soaks through clothing, turns everything into ice. Your furs freeze solid, your hair freezes, your eyelashes freeze shut. You can't move properly. Your joints stiffen, your fingers lose dexterity. If you're away from camp, freezing rain is a death sentence. Summer storms bring different dangers: lightning, flash floods, hail. Lightning strikes are rare, but when they happen, they're terrifying. A bolt hits nearby. The sound is deafening. The smell of ozone fills the air. Sometimes lightning starts fires. In the dry summer tundra, fire spreads fast. You have to run, grab what you can and flee. Flash floods happen when snowmelt or heavy rain overwhelms rivers and streams. Water levels rise rapidly. What was a trickle becomes a torrent. You're wading across a stream. Suddenly water is at your waist, then your chest. The current is strong. It sweeps you off your feet. If you can't grab onto something, you're carried away, smashed against rocks, drowned. Weather in the Ice Age is unpredictable, violent, unforgiving. You learn to read the signs, changes in wind direction, the colour of the sky, the behaviour of animals. These signs give you warning. Sometimes, not always. And even with warning, there's not much you can do. You can't control the weather. You can only react, so you stay vigilant. You prepare as best you can. You respect the power of nature, because one wrong move, one moment of carelessness, and the weather will kill you. Just like that. Chapter 31. The sky holds mysteries. At night, you look up. The sky is vast, endless, filled with more stars than you can count. There's no light pollution, no cities, no street lamps, just the pure, unfiltered cosmos. The Milky Way stretches overhead like a river of light. It's breathtaking, overwhelming. You don't understand what you're seeing. You don't know about galaxies or solar systems, but you know it's important. Sacred. Your group has stories about the sky. The stars are ancestors, or spirits, or gods. Certain patterns repeat. You notice. Your elders noticed. Their elders before them. These patterns, constellations, have meaning. They mark seasons, directions, events. When a certain group of stars appears, winter is coming. Time to prepare. When another appears, the herds will migrate. Time to hunt. The sky is a calendar, a map, a guide. The moon is particularly significant. It waxes and wanes, predictably, reliably. You track its cycles. The full moon lights the night, enables hunting, travel, work. The new moon is dark, dangerous. Predators are bolder. You stay close to the fire. Women's bleeding cycles align with the moon, or seem to. This connection feels meaningful, mystical. Eclipses terrify you. The sun or moon darkens, disappears, as if being devoured. You don't know what causes them, so you assume it's punishment, or a warning, or a battle between gods. During an eclipse you perform rituals, chant, make offerings, beg for the light to return, and it does. Always. But the fear remains. Shooting stars streak across the sky, brief, bright, gone. They're omens, good or bad depending on context. You interpret them. Assign meaning. Maybe a shooting star means someone has died, their spirit ascending, or maybe it means a child will be born. New life entering the world. The aurora borealis dances overhead, waves of green and purple light rippling across the northern sky. It's beautiful and terrifying. You don't understand it, so you invent explanations. Maybe it's the spirits of the dead playing or dancing or fighting. Maybe it's a bridge to the afterlife, a path the dead walk. Maybe it's a warning from the gods, a sign of change, of danger. You watch in awe. You tell your children what the elders told you, and the stories are passed down. The sky also brings weather. You watch clouds, their shapes, their movement. Dark clouds mean storm, fast-moving clouds mean wind. Red sky at sunrise means bad weather coming. You learn these signs. They're not always accurate, but they're better than nothing. During the day, the sun is your constant companion. It rises, crosses the sky, sets. In summer, it barely sets. The days are long, almost endless. In winter, it barely rises. The darkness is oppressive, depressing. You feel it. The lack of light affects you, makes you sluggish, moody, hopeless, but you endure, because you always do. The sky, for all its mysteries, is also familiar, constant, a reminder that some things continue, some things endure. The stars were there before you, they'll be there after you, and somehow that's comforting. In a world where everything is uncertain, the sky remains, unchanging, eternal, indifferent. Chapter 32. Your body is breaking down. Let's be honest, your body is not doing well. You're probably in your late 20s or early 30s, but your body feels 50, 60, ancient. Your joints ache constantly. Knees, hips, shoulders, back. Everything hurts. Years of hard labour, carrying heavy loads, crouching, kneeling, repetitive motions. Your spine is curved, your posture is terrible, but everyone's is. Arthritis is common. Your fingers are gnarled, swollen, stiff, especially in the morning. Simple tasks, gripping a tool, tying a knot, are painful. Your teeth are a disaster. Ground down from chewing tough meat and gritty food. Cavities everywhere. Some teeth are missing, others are abscessed. Your gums bleed. Your breath smells like rot. Toothaches are constant. Sometimes an abscessed tooth spreads infection to your jaw, your face swells, fever sets in. If the infection spreads to your blood, you die. Slowly. Painfully. Your skin is damaged, cracked, calloused, scarred. Your hands look like leather. Rough, split, bleeding. Your face is weathered, lines etched deep by squinting in the wind, by sun exposure, by constant stress. Frostbite has taken its toll. Maybe you've lost a toe, or a fingertip. The flesh blackened and fell off years ago. Your feet are misshapen, bunions, corns, broken bones that healed wrong. Walking hurts. But you walk anyway. Miles every day. Your eyes are strained, constant squinting, smoke exposure, infections. Vision problems are common, but there are no glasses, no corrective lenses. If your vision fails, you adapt, or you become a burden. Your lungs are scarred from smoke inhalation. You cough constantly, especially in the morning. You hack up phlegm, sometimes blood. Respiratory infections are frequent. Pneumonia has nearly killed you twice. You survived. Barely. Your immune system is both strong and weak. Strong because you're exposed to everything. Weak because you're malnourished. You get sick often, but you recover. Usually, parasites are a constant problem. Worms, living in your intestines, stealing nutrients. Your stomach is distended, you're thin everywhere else, but your belly bulges. Everyone has parasites. It's just part of life. Your muscles are lean, wiry, strong in function, but there's no extra mass, no fat reserves. In winter, you lose weight. Every winter. By spring, you're skeletal. If you gain weight in summer, it's a miracle. For women, childbirth has taken its toll. Pelvic damage, torn tissue, chronic pain. Many women have prolapsed uteruses, Bladder control issues, fistulas. These conditions are humiliating, painful, but there's no treatment. You just live with it. For men, injuries from hunting and fighting leave scars, inside and out, broken ribs that never healed right, nerve damage, chronic pain. You've been gored, clawed, bitten, trampled. You survived. But you're not whole. Everyone is damaged. Everyone is in pain. Everyone is slowly breaking down. And yet, you continue. Because stopping means dying. Your body is a tool. You use it until it fails. And when it fails, you'll be left behind. Or you'll die in your sleep. There's no retirement, no nursing home, no medical intervention. Just life. Hard, brutal, unrelenting life. Until it's not. Chapter 33. Memory and Legacy. Are oral, you can't write. Writing doesn't exist. There are no books, no records, no documentation. Everything you know, you learned from someone's mouth. And everything you teach the same way. Your memory is sharp. It has to be. You've memorized vast amounts of information, where the herds migrate, which plants are edible, how to make tools, how to track, how to survive. You've memorized stories, dozens of them, passed down through generations. These stories aren't just entertainment, they're education, history, culture, identity. They explain where your people came from, why certain rituals are performed, how the world was created. They teach lessons, morality tales, cautionary stories. A story about a hunter who went alone and died teaches you never to hunt alone. A story about a woman who disrespected the spirits and brought misfortune teaches you to honor the rituals. These stories are repeated, again and again, around the fire, at gatherings, during rituals. You've heard them hundreds of times. You could recite them in your sleep, and you do recite them, to children, to newcomers, to anyone who needs reminding. Songs serve the same purpose. They're mnemonic devices. The rhythm and melody make information easier to remember. A song about tracking might list the signs to look for. Footprints, scat, broken branches. You sing it while you work, while you walk, and the information stays with you. Your name carries meaning. It's not just an identifier, it's a story. You might be named after an ancestor, a great hunter, a wise elder, or you might be named for a trait, or an event surrounding your birth. Your name ties you to your lineage, your identity, your place in the group. When someone dies, their story continues. People tell stories about them, their achievements, their failures, their personality. This is your legacy. Not wealth, not possessions, stories. If people remember you, you achieved immortality. Of a kind, if they don't, you're forgotten. As if you never existed. Some people are remembered for generations. The greatest hunters, the wisest leaders, those who saved the group from disaster. Their names become legend, mythologized. Eventually, maybe even deified. Others are forgotten within a generation. You hope to be remembered, but you know you probably won't be. You're not exceptional, just another survivor, and that's okay. Your children will carry on, their children after them. Your genes will persist, even if your name doesn't. This oral tradition is humanity's first library, fragile, imperfect, but powerful. Knowledge accumulates, slowly. Over centuries, each generation adds a little, refines techniques, discovers new things, and the oral tradition carries it forward. Until thousands of years from now, when someone invents writing, and the oral becomes written, but that's far in the future. For now, memory is all you have, and memory, shared and repeated, is enough to keep humanity alive. Chapter 34. Endings are abrupt. You wake up one morning, or you don't. Death in the Ice Age is sudden, unceremonious, final. You might be healthy one day, dead the next, a cut that gets infected, a fever that won't break, a cough that turns into pneumonia, or something more violent, an animal attack, a fall, a blow to the head during conflict. You don't die peacefully in a hospital bed surrounded by loved ones. You die in the snow, or in the shelter, or alone somewhere, never found. Maybe you're hunting. You slip on ice, hit your head on a rock, unconscious. You freeze to death before anyone finds you, or you're gathering firewood. A bear surprises you. One swipe, you're gone, or you're just old. Your body gives out, your heart stops, you collapse mid-task, the group finds you, they check, you're dead, they move your body aside. Life continues, there's no ambulance, no emergency room, no chance of resuscitation, dead is dead. For some, death is a relief, years of pain, exhaustion, hunger, finally over. For others, it's a tragedy, young, healthy, full of potential, cut down by chance. But the emotional response is muted, practical. Grief is real, but brief. You mourn for a day, maybe two. Then you move on, because the group needs you. The work doesn't stop. Your death affects the group. If you were a skilled hunter, they've lost a provider. If you were an elder, they've lost wisdom, but they adapt. Someone else steps up, fills the gap. Life continues. Your possessions, few as they are redistributed. Your tools, your clothing, your sleeping furs. Nothing is wasted. Everything is needed. Your body is disposed of quickly. In winter, dragged outside and left for scavengers. In summer, buried or burned. Sometimes, if you were important, there's a burial, a grave, offerings. Your body is placed in a specific position. Maybe curled up, like sleeping. Maybe facing a certain direction. Ochre might be sprinkled over your body. Red, like blood, like life. A symbolic gesture toward rebirth or the journey to the spirit world. Tools are placed with you. A spear, a scraper, a carved figurine. Things you'll need in the afterlife. Or so the belief goes. The group gathers. Brief words are spoken. Maybe a song, a chant, honouring your contributions, acknowledging your journey. Then it's over. The grave is filled, or the body is left, and everyone returns to camp. Your name is mentioned for a while. Stories are told. Remember when they killed that mammoth? Remember how they could track in the dark? But gradually the stories fade. New events overshadow old ones. New people are born, new deaths occur. Within a generation you're mostly forgotten. Within two, completely. Unless you did something extraordinary. Something worth remembering for centuries. But most people don't. Most people live, suffer, survive, die, and vanish into the endless expanse of time. Your bones might be found thousands of years later by archaeologists who don't know your name, don't know your story. They'll catalogue you, study you, try to piece together how you lived. They'll note your arthritis, your broken bones, your worn teeth, your nutritional deficiencies. They'll marvel at how hard your life was, how much you endured, but they won't know you, the real you, your fears, your hopes, your small joys, the way you laughed, the person you loved, the children you lost. All of that dies with you. This is the reality of the Ice Age. Life is brutal and short. Death is common and swift. There's no grand meaning, no cosmic justice, no guarantee of legacy. You live, you fight, you endure, and then you're gone. But here's the thing. You mattered. Not in some grand historical sense, but in the immediate tangible sense. You kept the fire burning. You brought home meat. You protected your children. You taught the young. You contributed to the group's survival. And because of you, and thousands like you, humanity persisted. Through the worst climate catastrophe in human history, your species survived. Not because of strength or intelligence alone, but because of cooperation, resilience, stubborn refusal to give up. You are one link in an unbroken chain stretching back millions of years and forward to today. Without you, that chain breaks. Humanity ends. But you didn't break. You held on. And so, the chain continues. Chapter 35. The final night. It's your last night. You don't know it. Yet. But somewhere deep inside, maybe you sense it. Your body is failing. You've been sick for days. A fever that won't break. A cough that brings up blood. You're lying near the fire, wrapped in furs. The others work around you. They glance your way occasionally. They know. You drift in and out of consciousness. Memories flash, disconnected, random. Your mother's face. You haven't thought of her in years. She died when you were young. You remember her hands, rough, gentle. Your first hunt. The fear. The exhilaration. The weight of the spear in your hand. The birth of your first child. The overwhelming love. The terror. The faces of those you've lost. So many faces. Children. Friends. Lovers. All gone. Moments of joy. Rare but precious. The taste of fresh meat after days of hunger. The warmth of the fire on a brutal night. Laughter shared with someone you trusted. Moments of pain. Injuries. betrayals, losses, they blur together. You open your eyes. The shelter is dim. The fire is low. Someone is feeding it, adding sticks, keeping it alive. You try to speak. Your throat is raw. Your voice is a whisper. No one hears. You close your eyes again. You're cold. So cold. Even near the fire. Even wrapped in furs. The cold is inside you now. In your bones. In your blood. Your breathing is laboured. Shallow. Wet. Each breath is a struggle. You're not afraid. Not really. Death has been a companion your entire life. You've always known it was coming. You just hoped for more time. Everyone does. You think about your children, the ones who survived. They're here. Somewhere. You hope they'll be okay. You hope they'll remember you. But even if they don't, it's fine. You did your part. You gave them life. You taught them what you could. The rest is up to them. The pain is fading now. Or maybe you're just too weak to feel it. Your heartbeat is slow, irregular. Each beat feels like it might be the last. You hear voices, distant, muffled. Someone is singing, a low rhythmic chant, a death song. They're singing for you. It's strangely comforting. You're not alone, not in this final moment. The fire crackles, the wind howls outside, the familiar sounds of life in the Ice Age. You take a breath. It rattles in your chest. You exhale. You try to take another breath, but you can't. Your heart beats once more, twice, then stops, and you're gone. The person singing continues for a moment, then stops. They reach over, check your pulse, check your breath. Nothing. They pull the furs over your face. A simple gesture. Acknowledgement. Someone murmurs, "They're gone." A few people nod. A child asks a question. An adult shushes them. Life continues, the fire is fed, work resumes, plans are made for tomorrow. Your body will be dealt with in the morning. For now, it's left where it is. No one cries, not outwardly. There's no time for prolonged grief, but inside, there's sadness, weariness, the weight of another loss. Tomorrow they'll drag your body outside. They'll leave it for the wolves and the cold. Or maybe they'll bury you, if the ground isn't too frozen, if there's time. Either way, your physical form will return to the earth, consumed, recycled, becoming part of the land you fought so hard to survive in. Your spirit, if such a thing exists, will go wherever spirits go. The ancestors, the sky, the next world, or nowhere. Maybe there's nothing after, just silence, absence, peace. You'll never know, no one does, but your legacy remains, not in monuments or written words, but in the people you leave behind. Your children carry your genes, your stories, your lessons. They'll pass them on, and their children after them. And so, in a way, you persist, diluted, transformed, but present. In every human alive today, there's a trace of you, a fragment of Ice Age resilience, Ice Age stubbornness, Ice Age refusal to quit. Modern humans might live in comfort, but they carry the DNA of survivors, of people who endured the unendurable. That's your gift, your legacy. Not fame, not glory, just survival. And that's enough. More than enough. Chapter 36. What the Ice Age taught us. Let's step back. Look at the bigger picture. The Ice Age wasn't just a period of suffering. It was a crucible. A forge that shaped humanity. The harsh conditions forced innovation. You couldn't survive without problem solving, adaptation, creativity. You learned to make fire reliably, to craft sophisticated tools, to cooperate in complex ways. You developed language, art, spirituality, culture. These things didn't emerge from comfort, they emerged from necessity. The Ice Age taught humans to plan, to think ahead, to prepare for seasons that wouldn't arrive for months. It taught delayed gratification, working now for rewards later. It taught cooperation. No individual could survive alone. Groups succeeded, individuals failed. This fostered social bonds, empathy, the ability to work together toward common goals. The Ice Age also taught respect for nature. You weren't the dominant species. You were prey as often as predator. You learned to read the environment, to understand animal behavior, to recognize patterns. This knowledge accumulated, each generation adding to the collective understanding. Eventually it led to agriculture, domestication, civilization, but that's thousands of years away still. For now, you're living in the moment, surviving day by day, and in that survival, you're laying the groundwork for everything that comes after. The neural pathways being formed in your children's brains, through storytelling, through tool-making, through problem-solving, are creating the cognitive capacity for future advancements. The social structures you're developing, leadership, cooperation, trade, are the seeds of future societies. The spiritual beliefs you're forming, rituals, art, burial practices, are the beginnings of religion, philosophy, meaning-making. Everything modern humans take for granted started here, in the frozen tundra, in crude shelters, around smoky fires. You don't know this. You can't see the future. You're just trying to survive. But in doing so, you're creating the future, shaping it, building it with your bare hands and your stubborn will to live. The Ice Age will end. Eventually. The climate will warm, the ice will retreat, new opportunities will arise, and humanity will be ready. Because you prepared them. Not intentionally, not consciously, but through sheer persistence, by refusing to give up, by adapting, by surviving. You've ensured that your species continues, evolves, thrives. The Ice Age is a testament to human resilience, to our ability to endure, to persist against impossible odds. And every person alive today owes their existence to people like you, the unnamed, the forgotten, the everyday survivors who kept the fire burning through the darkest, coldest period of human history. So when modern people complain about their problems, and they will constantly remind them of this, their ancestors survived an ice age, with nothing but stone tools and animal skins. If they could do that, modern humans can handle their comparatively minor difficulties. That's the lesson. That's the legacy. Humans are survivors, always have been, always will be. No matter how bad things get, humanity finds a way, because that's what you taught them, through your actions, your endurance, your refusal to quit. Thank you for that. Seriously. Even though you'll never hear these words, even though you died thousands of years before they were written, thank you for surviving, for persisting, for being stubborn enough to keep going when everything told you to stop. Because of you, humanity is here. Still surviving, still adapting, still refusing to quit, just like you. Epilogue. Sleep now. So there you have it, a glimpse into the Ice Age, into a life so harsh, so brutal that most modern humans couldn't survive a single day, but you would have. Because humans are tougher than they think. You're descended from survivors, from people who endured the worst and kept going. That strength is in you, dormant maybe, but there. And when things get hard, and they will, remember where you came from. Remember the ice, the cold, the hunger, the fear. Remember that your ancestors faced all of that with nothing but stone and fire and each other, and they made it. They survived. They passed the torch to you. So whatever you're dealing with, stress, anxiety, insomnia, heartbreak, whatever, you can handle it. You come from a long line of handlers, of survivors, of people who refuse to break, and neither will you. Now it's late, or early, depending on where you are in the world. You've travelled back 20,000 years. You've lived a life you'll never actually live. You've felt cold you'll never actually feel. And hopefully your own bed feels a little more comfortable now. Your own problems feel a little more manageable. Because compared to the Ice Age, you've got it pretty good. So close your eyes. Pull up that blanket. Feel the warmth of your room. And remember, you're safe. You're fed. You're warm. Everything your Ice Age ancestors fought for you have. Don't waste it. But also don't stress about it. Just be. Exist. Rest. You've earned it. Just by being here. Just by being the product of 20,000 years of survival. Sleep well, sleepless survivors. And when you wake up tomorrow, remember, you're tougher than you think. Because your ancestors were tougher than you can imagine. Good night, or good morning. Whenever you're listening, stay warm, stay alive, stay human.